29-year-old female patient who's a housewife who studied up to 12th standard came with the chief complaints of dyspnea on exertion from 12 years and palpitation for past 5 months. History of present illness. Patient was apparently normal until 17 years of age when she started experiencing dyspnea on exertion, which was insidious in onset and gradually progressive. Initially, it was present on walking to her college, which was 1 kilometer away, and which gradually progressed to dyspnea on walking 100 meters from past 5 months. There is history of PND from past 1 week, and no history of dyspnea at rest, and no history of orthopnea. She also gave history of palpitations for past 5 months. Palpitations were sudden in onset, present even at rest, and aggravated during exertion. They were fast and irregular. There's no history of post-palpitation diuresis. She had consulted a doctor at the age of 17 years, and she received intramuscular injections every 3 weeks, which she discontinued after a period of 1 year. At the age of 19 years, she had dyspnea on exertion, which was NYHA class 3 for 3 months, and an episode of PND for which she was hospitalized, and she underwent a procedure through right groin. She had relief of symptoms post-procedure, and she remained asymptomatic for a period of 9 years. For past 2 years, again, she became symptomatic with NYHA class 2 dyspnea and NYHA class 3 dyspnea from past 5 months. And she was told to continue IM injections post-procedure 3 weekly, which she still continues, and few oral medications which she is not aware of.
Hello?
Hello.
I'm not able to hear you.
Yes, sir. Now you can hear, sir. Hello?
Yes.
There's no history of angina, no history of syncope, no history of fatigue, no history of chronic cough, hemoptysis, no history of prolonged fever, any abdominal distension, lower limb swelling, right upper abdominal pain. No history of blood loss, no history of weight loss, no history of polyarthralgia or arthritis, and no history of rash. Past history, there's no history suggestive of rheumatic fever, no history of recurrent respiratory tract infection in childhood. And family history, she has 2 siblings and no similar history in the family. Personal history, she takes a mixed diet, appetite is reduced, sleep is disturbed from past 1 week, bowel and bladder habits are regular. Menstrual history is normal and she's unmarried. So summarizing her history, 29-year-old lady who presented with dyspnea on exertion, initially NYHA class 2, now class 3, and the end episodes. Hello? Yes, sir. And she had undergone therapeutic procedure from the right groin. Now she has recurrence of symptoms from past 2 years and recent worsening of symptoms due to palpitation. Most probably, it looks like arrhythmic in origin, mostly atrial fibrillation. The possibilities could be one. It could be a valvular heart disease, left-sided valve, and mitral restenosis with recent onset arrhythmia, atrial fibrillation. Unlikely to be ASD because she had a history of PND, and she had symptoms from 17 years onwards. So, but still, it is unlikely to be ASD because of the history of PND. So, Gutenberger, it is unlikely. Then one more thing is cardiomyopathy. Again, because of long course of her illness, and she has undergone a procedure from right groin. Again, the cardiomyopathy diagnosis also is unlikely.
No, madam. She patient was taking some. On a history-wise, there is rheumatic prophylaxis.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rheumatic prophylaxis. You don't bring to these things cardiomyopathy because she was taking once in a month injection. Injection.
Yes.
And mitral restenosis now developed.
Yes.
Some penicillin prophylaxis for rheumatic fever.
Yes, sir.
And because nothing, any other person take once a month, any injection, nothing, no, only rheumatic fever only.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so therapeutic procedure, part of alloplasty BMB, and they got relief. Now, within 2 years, she developed reoccurrent symptoms within 2 years.
9 years she was asymptomatic, only from past
9
years. Yes. At 17
years.
years, she had first symptom. 19 years, she underwent procedure. 9 years asymptomatic. Then from 2 years, again symptomatic.
So why do you think mastostenosis? Why could be MR possible? MR or arterial disease, AS, AR, something? Why do you think mastostenosis, restenosis? Because you are 9 years total asymptomatic. Could have double MR? Why do you think mastostenosis?
Actually, she has again dyspnea on exertion and PND episodes from past 5 months. And MR predominant symptom would have been fatigue, and palpitations would have been predominant symptom. The palpitations what she's having is more irregular and fast palpitations suggestive of atrial fibrillation. She's not having volume overload palpitations. Neither she is having history of fatigue. However, it cannot be ruled out. MR cannot be ruled out, but most probably it is mitral restenosis. Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's okay. Very straightforward case. So I'm taking also rheumatic prophylaxis once in a month. So you told, but there is no rheumatic fever in the past.
Yes, sir.
So how it is relevant to this?
50% of the patients may not have history of rheumatic fever, and in endemic area, like even though there is no history of rheumatic fever with mitral stenosis, 99% of the times it is rheumatic in origin, and we can consider this as juvenile mitral stenosis. That's why she had a rapid progression within 2 years, and she underwent a procedure. And
okay, so
having
what is so what is echocarditis?
So echocarditis for MR and for AR, at least jet should be present in at least 2 views. The jet velocity should be more than 3 meters per second, and the jet length should be at least 2 meters and 2 centimeters, and it should be a pan diastolic jet. In AR, in MR, it should be pan systolic jet.
Oh, that is for organic MR, organic AR. What is echocarditis? Yes. That is for the diagnosis of organic AR or organic MR. Pansystolic, pandiastolic, more than 2 views, and the jet velocity is like this. So length of the jet also.
Yes.
That is for AR, MR, for organic AR, MR, but not what is echocarditis. What is subclinical carditis?
Thickening of the leaflet should be present, called shortening.
Subclinical carditis. What is subclinical carditis, and how frequently get subclinical carditis? Instance of subclinical carditis. So this case has nothing much to ask history. So rheumatic fever, they'll ask something, and anybody has any work in India also, they'll ask.
Yes, sir.
You have to read this rheumatic fever. All of you read. They're asking rheumatic fever in India. Any series it is. Presentation of rheumatic fever in India now. So okay, correct. We thought of this is mastostenosis, valvuloplasty, valvuloplasty, and now she could have 9 years symptoms-free interval. So now for last 2 years developed breathlessness and presently functional class 3, class 4. Presently class 3 or
class 3?
Class 3. There are no orthogonal, there are no dyspnea rest, only PND. And less than ordinary activities, she's having symptoms. Okay, so fine. On exams, what do you get?
On examination, patient was conscious cooperative, height of 159 centimeters, weight 55 kg, BMI 23 kg per meter square, no pallor, icterus, cyanosis, clubbing, edema, palpable lymph nodes. Pulse was 82 per minute, irregularly irregular, with no radiofemoral delay. All peripheral pulses were well felt. Apex pulse deficit was 7 beats per minute. Blood pressure was 122 by 80 millimeters of mercury, right arm. Left arm 120 by 80 millimeters of mercury. Lower limb BP was 130 systolic. Patient was afebrile. Respiratory rate was 20 cycles per minute, thoraco-abdominal. And JVP was 3 centimeters above the clavicle with absent A waves, prominent B waves with rapid Y descent, and normal respiratory variation. Cardiac examination, inspection, palpation. There was no precordial bulge. Trachea was in midline. The apex was palpated in the left fifth intercostal space, 1 centimeter medial to midclavicular line. Apex was localized and sustained with medial retraction. There was left
LV type.
LV types.
But there is no cutting. 1 centimeter medial to midclavicular line and it is LV type. Okay, fine.
Yes, sir. And left parasternal heave was present grade 3, and left second intercostal space pulsations were palpable parasternally, and epigastric RV type of pulsations were felt. Question: border corresponded to the apex. Right border was retrosternal. Left second intercostal space was dull in the parasternal area. Liver dullness was in the right fifth intercostal space and midclavicular line, sternum tympani on the left side. Auscultation, S1 was variable with most components being predominantly loud. S2 was narrow split with loud P2, and P2 was heard at the apex. Then no S3, no S4. An opening snap was present with the narrow A to OS interval and long short cycle. No other added sound. Murmurs, mid-diastolic, low-pitched, rough rumbling murmur was heard at the apex, best in the left lateral position with breath held in expiration, with pre-systolic accentuation. Murmur was long in long cycles also. And there was a grade 3 pan-systolic, high-pitched blowing murmur, which was heard at the apex, best heard in expiration. Radiating to the axilla, and murmur did not change with the change in cycle length. At the left lower sternal border, there was a grade 3 pansystolic murmur, which increased with inspiration and passive leg raising. Other system, like parabdomen, liver was palpable 2 centimeters below right costal margin, and it was firm in consistency, smooth surface and borders, non-tender. And it is pulsatile with systolic pulsations were felt. And there was no free fluid in abdomen.
Liver pulsation there, eh? Hepatic
yes,
pulsation.
Hepatic pulsations.
That's all.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So then final?
Chronic rheumatic valvular heart disease, status post balloon mitral commissurotomy, severe mitral restenosis, mild mitral regurgitation, severe tricuspid regurgitation, moderate pulmonary venous hypertension, severe pulmonary arterial hypertension, in atrial fibrillation with controlled ventricular rate, NYHA class 3, no infective endocarditis, and no cases of congestive cardiac failure.
You told severe MS, mild MR, severe TR, and moderate PVH, no?
Moderate to severe PVH. She has severe PA.
No, how much you mentioned that degree of PVH? You do moderate severe PVH and severe PH.
PH.
Severe PH, why do you choose moderate severe? Make a severe PVH, you know, what to moderate severe PH? But the range of moderate severe PH, I don't know which range it will fall. So the moderate severe PVH, once it is severe PH, So PVS has to be severe.
Yes.
Otherwise, possible severe PVS, but moderate PH possible. So when you severe PH telling because of left heart disease, so make it PVS severe. And sinus impression, articulation.
Atrial fibrillation. Control.
Okay, so what you got very apex is normal apex, that is very forceful, it is hyperkinetic apex. Apex, you told apex is medial mutual line, it is LV type and medial retraction. It is normal LV type apex or it is dominant, hyperkinetic LV type apex?
Tapping like MS apex. So, ill sustained. It was not heaving or anything. It was localized, ill sustained, and with medial retraction.
Yeah, but it is what do you mean to say there is some the amplitude increase, apex amplitude increase, apex amplitude increase, normal apex, somebody normal apex, normal heart, apex, normal character. It is same or just amplitude increase here?
Amplitude is increased.
Amplitude increase, then how can the mild MR then? Moderate MR we can say.
Yes.
That's a moderate MR, you can say just because your amplitude increase, LV amplitude increase, you're not normal apex, that just doesn't go. And because otherwise you can't see mild MR, they're getting well, grade 2 paracetamol more.
Grade 3 paracetamol more.
So grade 3 paracetamol more going to axilla, so, and there's no other aortic disease to see that MR murmur is getting accentuated because of aortic disease. There's no aortic disease, so only mixed matter disease. So if you are getting grade 3 murmur in the presence of severe MS, that LV type of apex, definite LV apex, and that amplitude is greater than the normal amplitude. So think of MR must be some moderate MR at least, at moderate MR. And he has got what the evidence he got here? You telling that only you got paracetamol murmur, you didn't get RBST, you didn't get RBMDM. Sorry, trackers, but MDM you didn't get. It's got here.
Component V by the same grade 3 paracetamol heal, RV type, RV epigastric pulsations are there, and
loud because of severe pH. That is because severe pH. But how do you say severe TR? Yes, severe pH will accept it, but why do you say severe TR?
Maybe I missed RVS3. There was no RVS3, so moderate TR.
What about the tricuspid flow murmur? Yeah.
No, tricuspid flow MDM was not there. I couldn't appreciate it.
So severe TR means you expect some RVS3 and RVMDM. Okay, so but only thing you are getting is hepatic pulse, systolic pulsation, hepatomegaly, hepatic pulsation, and from the B in GEP and rapid wide discharge. Okay, so it's not organic TR, not only or think of because it's a long disease, or it is functional TR. What kind of etiology of TR could be here?
It is functional because of severe pulmonary artery hypertension, secondary TR.
With any correlation TR and degree of pH, correlation TR with the secondary TR with the right ventricular systolic pressure. So RV systolic pressure, how to get pH on basis of RV systolic pressure?
P2, if it is more than A2, then RV systolic pressure it corresponds to 30. And if it is heard at the apex, then the RV systolic pressure is more than 50.
So there is, it is one of the edition. If we get in TR, so you think a secondary TR, RBC will be minimum 55 minutes of mercury. So fine, this is the case of secondary TR, yeah? Secondary TR.
Yes, sir.
Okay, nothing much. This case, somebody one has to check your findings and fine. So nothing much to discuss on this case.
Mention as juvenile mitral stenosis in the diagnosis.
Why? No juvenile. Juvenile term don't use it. 10-year female. Stenosis no develop. What do you say juvenile mitral?
She was symptomatic from the age of 17 years. She was started on rheumatic prophylaxis at 17 years.
No, they will ask question. Okay, ask. Juvenile mitral don't say juvenile mitral stenosis. Ask what is juvenile mitral. You should know that who has coined this term and how this terminology came to picture and the naturalist of juvenile mitral stenosis. The last thing you should know that.
Yeah. Yes.
Otherwise, so what?
In mitral stenosis, should we mention that infective endocarditis, like sometimes also not to mention? I don't know.
What sort of endocarditis? Endocarditis less common is severe calcific mitral stenosis, and endocarditis is very less common because gradient is very less. So this murmur, you are telling that that apical murmur. Why not it TR murmur? Why do you say murmur? Because if you say, now I'm thinking moderate MR, so I may not able to second time balloon.
But the murmur even at the axilla, and LV is forming the apex, and if RV was forming the apex, then and the murmur wouldn't have been radiating to the axilla, then I would have thought it was TR murmur. But here LV is forming the apex, and murmur was heard also at the axilla. So that's why I was thinking it is MR murmur.
What else? Other difference in diagnosis?
There was this murmur TR left lower sternal border murmur was increasing with inspiration and leg raising, whereas the MR murmur was heard better with the left lateral position and in expiration, better heard in expiration.
If you do Valsalva, what will happen murmur? TR and MR murmur.
Valsalva, TR murmur will reduce.
MR?
MR, it will reduce after, initially it won't reduce. After a few beats, it may reduce. The venous will reduce.
On the release of Valsalva? After releasing Valsalva, what will happen?
VSD murmur will...
No, not VSD, on the release. If Valsalva release phase, fourth phase, what will happen to murmur? TR and MR murmur.
TR murmur will increase. And the changes in MR will occur at a later phase because...
After 2 beats, after 5 beats, MR will increase. Well, immediately TR will increase. So they ask this Valsalva and MR TR. Respiration, location. So this for to tell. Because here is a constant matter for constant because MR is moderate. So I cannot do.
Hello?
Okay, are you able to? Hello? Yes.
Hello?
So they will ask these things, MRTR, this dynamic oscillation MRTR. So because it's a matter of concern, because if TR is if it is MR, moderate MR is, or it for me it will be difficult to do second time DMB. So they'll ask whether MR TR or it MRs. Okay, fine. So, how to judge severity of MR in the presence of articulation? Oh, let's talk question. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Severity of MR, severity of MS in the presence of articulation.
If the murmur is present in the long cycles, if the murmur is long, then it means the mitral stenosis is severe. In case of atrial fibrillation, in the short cycles, the murmur will be long, but it is long even in the long cycles, then it is severe. Then A to OS interval, like if it is narrow in case of long short cycle, then the MS is severe, sir. And the presence of pulmonary artery hypertension, loud P2, narrow split, second heart sound, parasternal heave, RV epigastric pulsation, indirect evidence that MS is severe.
Okay, fine. So the duration more important.
Yes, sir.
What is happening? Out of the distance. The duration of the MDM in the long cycle important to assess the severity of MS. Okay, fine. So, is a severity of MS is related to articulation? Either in relation with articulation and instance articulation and severity of MS. Yeah.
Less than 40 years, the AF is seen in 5 to 10%, and more than 50 years, sorry, not 40, 30 years, it is 5 to 10%, and more than 50 years, it is more than 50% in some studies. In some studies, it is almost 50 to 80% in more than 50 years. But
my question that severity of MS and incidence of articulation in correlation there. Severe MS and articulation incidence. More severe MS and articulation incidence more. Is there any
LA size it is there, sir, and the age it is.
Okay, not the severe MS.
LA size less than 40 millimeter, then it is 17%, and if it is more than 40 millimeter, it is 50%.
LA size means what? What do you think? LA size or LA? You have to volume index or diameter? What do you think? Which is more correlation?
Volume index, but what study I had read, it was like LA diameter.
Which diameter it is? Anterior diameter, transverse diameter?
In the Plaque's view, anterior posterior diameter.
Which should be correct actually? Which is more appropriate, volume or diameter? Okay, you are correct. Volume. This is the study is diameter with the instance articulation. The volume is more appropriate, more correct than what normal volume, upper limb to normal LA volume?
38 ml.
34
ml.
34. So, arterial fibrillation in rheumatic MS, arterial fibrillation non-valvular MS. What do you think? Tell us something, some difference.
Atrial fibrillation.
Rheumatic mitral stenosis arterial fibrillation and non-valvular arterial fibrillation.
In rheumatic MS, atrial fibrillation, usually there is LA enlargement. In non-valvular biatrial enlargement will be there, and even anticoagulation, MS, we don't do Chadwick score for anticoagulation, and the preferred anticoagulant which is preferred is warfarin in case of MS atrial fibrillation. Non-valvular, we do Chadwick score, except in case of HCM.
So the most common site of most common site of atrial clot formation atrial appendage.
Atrial appendage.
And supposing after CMB, during CMB usually they cut the appendage. So patient with then develop atrial fibrillation. You need to give anticoagulation or don't give. Patient has undergone CMB with the left atrial appendage excision, and few years later, patient develop atrial fibrillation. So you give anticoagulation, no anticoagulation.
Patient with MS.
MS is CMB, yeah. APS closed metallotomy and is undergone excision of the appendage, and patient after 10 years of OMC or whatever CMB, he develop atrial fibrillation. So what will you do? How to treat this? Will you give anticoagulation or no anticoagulation?
We'll give anticoagulation.
Why atrial appendage go?
Okay, OC, OMB.
Huh? I'm not able to hear you. Maybe some disturbances in the network. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I do not answer.
You have to give no. Don't know what. Atrial fibrillation, the appendage is not only placed for clot formation. It can clot may form in the LA also, no? Fine. So okay, it is a straightforward case. So what to do? Yes, discuss this much. Yeah. You don't have an outward environment here.
No, sir.
Have you done auscultated? Have you tried to look for air on hand grip?
Yes, sir. No murmur, sir. No air murmur. Leaning forward also, no murmur.
Okay, so tell your ECG X-ray. ECG X-ray there, ma?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll discuss more on ECG and X-ray.
ECG, 12-lead ECG in atrial fibrillation with post-atrial fibrillation, and axis is plus 120 degrees.
X 90 degree.
90 degrees, plus 90 degrees. And there's
Yes.
It is more of LV forces, but no RV forces. It's RSR dash pattern in B1.
No, the RSR pattern there, but you don't know that the R prime not very much tall here. But the presence of the right axis, 90 degree axis, so you can think of RV is there.
RV is there. Plus
RV axis. Artery with QRS axis more than 60, the correlation with arterial area with QRS axis.
Less than 1.3.
Or 3, 2, or whatever. So now there is right axis, 90 degree axis with this ECG. So, and how much do you think LV is there? The normal LV complex, normal R complex, no?
Yes, sir.
If you think B2R and B5S, B2S and B5R, how much it is?
It's only 24.
Now if you combine those, you add up B2S and R in B5.
Yes, sir. 35 it is coming to 35.
So if you take in that constant, maybe some LV there, but there is no Q in V5, it's not there much tiny Q there. So maybe some borderline left angle hypertrophy there and the right axis. So you can see that probabilistic is for borderline biventricular. artery fibrillation there, and okay. Okay, fine. Next, ABL is negative.
ABL is
Negative. But there is some, no, the RB income to RB there. That's all. Otherwise, there are no clear-cut things. X-ray. The patient X-ray or somebody's X-ray?
it's her X-ray only.
It is only rotated film.
Rotated and on admission, like Zoom palmadium and that.
Rotated film and it's exactly like a past type. Okay, describe this X-ray. It is too much rotated.
Overexposed X-ray and rotated film, and there is a cardiomegaly, CT ratio of 55%. There is a right RV type of apex, right atrial enlargement and left atrial enlargement.
APV or PVU?
This is
PVU, okay, fine. Clavicle system. But quite rotated film, so very difficult to comment on this. Fine, this section. So RV type apex.
and left atrial enlargement, splaying of carina is seen, and double shadow is seen, and pulmonary venous hypertension, pulmonary arterial segment, the pulmonary bay is full, so pulmonary arterial hypertension is there. And pulmonary venous hypertension is
RP is hidden by the shadow, RA shadow. Huge RA, huge LA. Is only watching the LA and RA both in that RB. I don't see any LB, RB anything. And left bronchus is quite elevated, almost it is 130, 150 degree angle. Huge LA, RA or something large. So how to explain such a huge aneurysmal LA?
Maybe she's having confined valve lesion, mitral stenosis, mitral regurgitation, so that's why she's having a huge LA.
See, aneurysmal LA is two things. One is if it's patient in sensitive, to think of MR is dominant. If severe, MR is severe. So aneurysmal LA. And in the presence of atrial fibrillation, it will be difficult to say which one is dominant unless you have got severe. You get definitely LV apex, you cannot say MR dominant. Otherwise, in the presence of long-standing atrial fibrillation, the LV will enlarge. So irrespective of severity of MR. So if sinus limb, if LV is huge enlarged, so think of MR dominant, severe MR. But patient in sinus, patient atrial fibrillation, we don't know what the duration atrial fibrillation, and so that could cause for aneurysmal LA. And apex, you don't see what kind of apex you have. Apex is not very much evident now from here. Apical LV contour or RV contour are difficult to say. Only what I'm saying, the only huge LA and huge RA both. And there is significant PVH there, of course. PVH has to be there. RP is hidden by this cardiac shadow. There is any calcification, LA? Is there calcification?
No, sir.
So if it is calcified, how do you think of it? Suppose there is LA calcification. Sometimes you have seen LA calcification in macular disease, long-term macular disease. It's because of
rheumatic.
These people are calling. So It is because of the organization of the thrombus, which Latin calcified. Hello?
Yes, sir.
So we calcified because organized. Somebody is calling. Hello? Yes. Now, then go to X-ray echo data there or echo picture there.
Actually, the image it's not playing, sir. So I just sent only 2-3 minutes.
You need to text, otherwise text.
Severe mitral stenosis, mitral valve area of 1.2 centimeter square, and thickened doming mitral valve leaflets, LA, and the measurements, LA is 48 millimeter, LV IDD is 39.4, and LV IDS is 24.6. LV EF is 68.3. There is a moderate mitral regurgitation, eccentric jet, and tricuspid valve annulus is 46 millimeter. Tricuspid regurgitant Doppler gradient is 54 millimeter of mercury, and mitral valve gradient is 28 millimeters. Mean transmitral gradient is 28 millimeters of mercury.
But you told that LV internal diameter in diastole is 78, no? You told?
Is 39.4 and IDS is 24.6.
Oh, 39. I thought I had 79. 39. Okay.
39.4, 24.6.
Okay. LV not much dilated, so.
Not dilated.
LA is only 42 only. LA. No?
48.
LA 40.
48, sorry.
But the X-ray looks different. Tear is severe tear.
Severe TR, sir.
How to know how to assess tear severity in echo Doppler? Hello, you are there?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You know how to assess severity of tear in 2D and color Doppler or the constant Doppler, whatever you use. What is the criteria of severe tear? You can qualitative, quantitative.
The jet area should be more than 10 centimeters square. Vena contracta more than 0.7. And what is that? It will usually be a triangular jet with a
Triangular.
Dense triangular.
Early picking.
Early peaking.
Early picking will get in case of organic tear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, dense. Okay, then okay, fine. Then what else?
Hepatic vein flow reversal, systolic reversal. Then IVC will be dilated, and with collapse will be less than less than 50% collapse of the IVC. And
what also there?
TR, no.
IVC collapse also has got it also related to TR. I don't know. Really, I'm asking this thing.
Wrong, sir. But,
okay, I mean to say you should know this, how to assess severity. You got traction annulus from 48 or something? 48, eh? Annulus?
46.
Annulus 46. Which phase of the cardiac cycle to measure the traction annulus? And which view?
Fourth chamber view.
Fourth chamber, which view? Which systolic, diastolic, which?
When the tricuspid Annulus is
Who is Prem? Systolic, diastolic, mid systolic, early systolic, or late systolic, mid diastolic, early diastolic. So many things are there.
end diastolic.
End diastolic. Okay. Fine. Any correlation with annulus diameter and TR?
It will be severe TR with annulus diameter of more than 40 or index annulus diameter of more than 21 millimeter per meter square.
No, that's fine. That's for the indication for TB surgery. Any has any relation with it, any study or anything, echo parameter TB annulus versus TB annulus with the TR severity. Okay, not there, fine. So TB annulus TR severity has no relation, no relation. Even your 40 millimeter TB annulus, but TR may moderate maybe. TB annulus is 35, 36 or 30, TR may be severe. So no relation. So that is for indication for TB surgery. So they studied that if it is, we are not doing TB surgery with this annulus, and after that TR will appear and TR will progress. Even though immediately post surgery TR may regress because there is fall in P pressure and the remodeling right ventricle, TR will fall. TR will diminish intensity, but later it will appear and will progress. So once TB annulus is dilated, so it will go on increasing in size. You don't do surgery. Okay, so this is good case. You discuss well and fine. So they will ask about how to balloon. Then because this patient underwent, so they will ask how to size the balloon in the indication, what is the balloon anatomy, contraindication, and outcome, predictor of outcome. So other things will ask these things. You should know this.
Yes, sir.
How to assess the severity of metastasis. How to assess the suitability for metavaloplasty. So these things will ask, what is scores, 2D score, a 3D score there, no? So all the scores will tell us score, Ramiro scores, and 3D evaluation that score on there.
Anwar.
You should know that theoretical they'll ask.
Yes, sir.
So they will ask you that supposing you have done balloon metavaloplasty, how to know that in cath lab? You don't have echo right now. You don't how to know cath lab you created acute severe MR. So they'll ask put the intraoperative blood pressure and there is giant V wave, very large V wave in early pressure testing. You connect the balloon to the transducer, you will get a very giant V wave. So that is so they may ask you to draw the diagram of giant V wave. So how to manage acute MR in cath lab? They're asking this, examiners are asking this. Acute MR in lab, how to manage, especially or Rajgopal sir, they ask these questions. So these things you know theoretically, what happened to do after balloon that AST created AST, the create will what happened to create then naturally your
Yes. 90% of the ASTs will close. 5% of the ASTs may remain. Usually in patients with whom the procedure has been unsuccessful, or if there is an MR, these patients are more in risk of for the ASD to remain. Otherwise, 95% of the ASTs will close over 3 to 6 months.
24 hours, almost all will close.
All will close. Yes.
And see, what are the conditions where the LA pressure remain elevated? So that case, that septal puncture will close, especially on satisfactory metal of PTMC, severe MR or on satisfactory drop in LA pressure. And if size more than 7 mm also. Usually size won't be more than 7 mm. If more than 7 mm or the LA pressure remain elevated, those you want to close. So they ask these questions. So what happened to this? These you did. Patient has got paroxysmal articulation, nuance articulation, with dilated metal valve. What will happen to articulation? So articulation will go away or it will chance recur. So they ask these questions, all questions, because it is not very difficult case. So you should be prepared to answer all kind of questions. And now the patient has got, supposing the patient has got, okay, fine, you did very good result, and patient is not tolerating articulation at all, any irregular beat not tolerating. So what to do? Want to go for ablate or what the role of ablation in post MVR or post MV repair? We don't know. So you have to read that articulation is structurally abnormal heart. I read that in terms of that one topic, review articles. So read those things, read those topics. Some patients won't tolerate articulation at all. We have seen few patients, not very. I have seen only a couple of patients that don't tolerate any articulation. Even though heart rate is well controlled, they cannot tolerate. What to do for these cases? Okay, good case. You presented well, so fine.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.